So just give you an overview of what I'm going to talk about. So what is spirituality for? Health benefits of spirituality. What is spiritual Feng Shui for? Benefits of spiritual Feng Shui. Top tips for spiritual Feng Shui. How to enlighten your home and workplace. And the last question will be, what is the ultimate spiritual Feng Shui for? And if there's time, there will be time for Q&A. So my main claim today is that Feng Shui is a spiritual discipline. Obviously, it's a personal discipline as well, but we're going to focus on this aspect. And there's research to back it up. So most of the information will be evidence-based, and you can see it on my line, all listed nicely. You can look at that later. So what is spirituality for? So let's start with the definition of spirituality, so on the same page. So spirituality is defined as connection to bigger life, peace of mind, and care, compassion, or love. And all the other disciplines like religion, spirituality, transpersonal psychology, philosophy, physics, quantum physics, and obviously Feng Shui has this kind of connection and is about peace of mind and ultimately is about love and care and compassion. So there's research, there's over 1,000 now papers on the benefits of spiritual religion. People are happier, healthier, and live longer when they have a spiritual or religious outlook. But if you don't like those words, spiritual, just replace it with consciousness. And the definition of spiritual, that's why I started in the Spiritual Companion Trust. Spirituality is everyone's natural connection with the wonder and energy of life and the instinct to explore its meaning. Spiritual development is about the growth of connection, peace of mind, compassion, and consciousness. So that's the kind of classic definition of what spirituality is. So the other disciplines that kind of connect to that, so there's epigenetics, and maybe you've heard of this. Basically, the environment can affect the expression of your genes. Space conditioning, Dr. William Tiller, he kind of coined this phrase, space conditioning. Feng Shui is really space conditioning. So the space, your intention, your consciousness can change space and condition space. Prime and effect in psychology and neuroscience, there's this idea that your attention, what you focus on, will affect you in different ways. And there's sleep research where during the sleep you kind of rejuvenate yourself and your soul goes back to your spirit every night, which is very nice. And then DNA, your DNA is repaired. We'll talk about when I talk about sleep. And obviously your vagus nerve is kind of stimulated, activated. And but the power of intention is very important. And you can see that word intention coming up quite a bit during this talk. So let's start at the beginning. Feng Shui, wind, water, not wind and water. Some authors translate incorrectly, which creates all kinds of problems for Feng Shui, really, and people. But they're obviously metaphoric description of spirit and matter, or non-physical reality and physical reality, or in a kind of physics term, quantum reality and Newtonian reality. In Japan, they have a term yukai, big spirit, and kenkai, small spirit. So physical. But it started, obviously, as you know, with graveyards, because originally Chinese people thought that if ancestors rest peacefully, that will kind of give them luck and prosperity and kind of fortune blessings. So they would find the best places for graveyards. And then there is actually, those places are good for living as well. And from that, we have this idea of the 5 animals, or the armchair configuration, when you have a black turtle at the back to give you protection, slightly higher hill on the east side, ideally a green dragon, and then on the right side, the west side, is your white target in front, open space, red things. And the 5th animal is actually yellow snake, and that's your home. And obviously, in other cultures have the same idea. You have, that's a building from Barcelona. That's an armchair position for the same idea. Obviously, chairs and stuff, and even in design, you have this kind of uplifting energy to take you up. So obviously, you can apply it to your bed. So this people went a bit over the board, so that's quite tall. I wouldn't go so probably the same, maybe tables, but maybe slightly high on that side. And you've got the same kind of arrangement. Obviously, here they didn't have a solid headboard, so they added cushion. Works, yeah. And then added this plant to give you extra kind of protection from the door. But I'm against spiky plants unless they are cleansing. So that's what you can do in your home with this idea of armchair configuration. So Obviously, in classical Feng Shui, we've got this idea of trinity of luck, where you have earth luck, human luck, and heaven luck. But all the traditions all over the world, spiritual, have the same idea. So in Christianity, you have the spirit, soul, psyche, body, and the material world. So that's the Chinese view, and it's the same. So when you look at all the traditions, they're talking about the same thing, just using different words. So what is spiritual Feng Shui for? So let's put it in context. And obviously, Feng Shui is many things. It's modern Feng Shui, classical Feng Shui, form school, compass school, intuitive, scientific, flying star, black hat, symbolic, and then obviously different application for business, for homes, for corporation, for cities, for gardens. And then I kind of distinguish between evidence-based Feng Shui, which I specialize, and non-evidence-based. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's based on belief and how people kind of experience Feng Shui. And obviously, there are more other aspects of Feng Shui. I see Feng Shui as a kind of multifaceted, multi-dimensional framework. Yeah? So we've got geopathic stress, electrosmog, sick building sin, placebo, rituals, epigenetics, semiotics, and so on. But obviously, we're going to focus today on spirit. And I put A because there'll be other spiritual traditions. It's not just my tradition or my kind of look, but there will be other things evolving. But this is the first talk on the Feng Shui Society's conference about spiritual Feng Shui. So I'm pleased to present that. And obviously, the bigger the view of Feng Shui you have, the better, because you're not going to fall for this conundrum where this blind man follow only one sense. They can try to figure out a piece of reality, and they sing bits, yeah? So the bigger the view of Feng Shui you have, the better Feng Shui work for you, but also for your clients if you're a consultant. So what is spiritual Feng Shui for? So got a list of 8 items. Connection, as we said, connect your larger life to nature. Peace of mind, you're creating a safe, relaxed, healthy, kind of stress-free home. Very important. Care and compassion, you create a home with the soul. Yeah? Energy, obviously, that's a key concept in Feng Shui, which they call it Qi or Qi. In other cultures, prana, physics, charge, or plasma. If you're into Star Wars, the Force, or just life force. Yeah. So obviously, it will give you clarity because you're going to use different models of Feng Shui, like Bagua, Yin Yang, 5 elements that kind of clarify what's happening in your environment and where you are. And focus, symbols, images, metaphors will help you to anchor those changes. Feng Shui is really 2 things, intention and ritual. And obviously empowerment, is, one of the best definitions of Feng Shui is physical affirmation. You're doing something with a positive intention. So it kind of brings that positivity and it's life affirming. And obviously spiritual development will give you more self-reflection, more consciousness, more awareness. And hopefully you're going to transcend yourself. You go beyond yourself to another realm. So let's go for the tips for spiritual Feng Shui. So you all have spiritual homes, and there are lots of aspects that you're not aware that's spiritual. So let me enlighten you. But you need to have some eyes to see what I'm going to talk about. So can you see this landscape? 2 horses, 1 rider. But can you see other things here? What do you see? Faces, yeah? If you're not seeing faces, here they are. 13 faces. So you said not so before maybe it's not that you were not seeing, you were not recognizing. So like I point eye, mouth, that's a big face, and we can agree looks like a face, yeah. And suddenly you recognize. It's not like you didn't see it, you just didn't recognize. So you need new spiritual eyes. Marcel Proust said the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new spiritual eyes. That's my addition. Yeah? So you can look at your environment from that perspective. So obviously, light and color is spiritual, has a frequency, has a vibration, can be measured, and it changes the mood, it affects you in different ways. So obviously with LED lights now, you can have any colors you want. It's amazing. This is the door from Gina Lazenby house, so she put a little crystal on the door. Fantastic. So you can put a crystal in the window. Why not here as well? And actually in her place, it works very well. I'm not really against candle as such, but I'm against the pollution that they create. So, if you buy this little gadget to measure the pollution, it's quite high. You'll be so shocked how much they pollute. So, from time to time, if you have a party, whatever, it's not a big deal. But I've been to homes where people use candles all the time, and the pollution's level that high. So it's not good. So from time to time, but because there are alternatives. So, fire is plasma. You can have a plasma ball. It's beautiful. It's called plasma. So it's not going to hurt you or anything. But basically, you can add other things. So, for example, salt lamps, which give you kind of nice ambient feel, but also apparently they produce some negative ions. So color, lots of research on color, I'm not going to bore you, but basically color influences your behavior. And on different levels, so, Feng Shui is going to influence you on physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, and so on, financial, relationship-wise, but color has the same kind of power to influence us. And there were talks before color on this conference before, so I'm not going to go into it. But just a quick reminder, the color is kind of culture-specific and a metaphor, so in different cultures, they have different association with like funerals, for example. So, just remember that some cultures have an opposite kind of view. It's complementary, but opposite in a way. So, connecting to nature, nature is bigger than us. So that's, according to the definition of spirituality, is spiritual. So it's nice to have, a house like this somewhere in Norway. But, you don't have to go too far. In England, there's this house somewhere, and this guy went crazy with the organic kind of look and shapes and material, and it's amazing. Yeah? But you can add this in other ways. Yeah, so you can have the plant wall, big one, small one, it doesn't matter. Offices now use this a lot because there's so much research about this. So they have fish tanks, they have kind of open spaces. And then meditation areas and kind of lots of plants and fun thing to, because they know that they can reduce stress, absenteeism, and boost creativity and productivity. It's all measurable. Views, if you're good, great, but a picture or a poster will do more or less the same. So there's no shortage with beautiful landscape pictures, yeah, or even a bigger picture of the universe where we are, yeah, or photo wallpapers. They're very inexpensive. You can change your whole environment. Can you imagine this wall having a nice, beautiful forest or beach or whatever? And it's quite inexpensive. Or even that one. So this kind of wall murals. That's a photographic wallpaper. And you can print it. If you don't like this, you can find your own picture and they'll print it for you. So connect to nature, anything. Plants, live plants, obviously, cut plants, will do the same thing. Buddha was very fond of plants and help people to get enlightened just by showing them plants, flowers. And then you can take that to the next level, connect with the community. So this little balcony gets a lot of positive energy from passerbys because they made an effort, just even one thing, it's beautiful. And so that's another way, so you're not only connecting to a larger community, but also getting positive vibe from others. So obviously lots of research on the effect of windows in hospitals. So, people who are in hospitals and by the window, they recover quicker, they're healthier and so on. So obviously not best can be by the window, but pictures, they start using posters and live kind of streams of nature with the same positive effects. So there's a name for that. It's called biophilia. Lots of research of use of pictures of nature trigger endorphin effect, lower blood pressure, boost the brain's attention, accelerate patients' recovery. So lots of recent it's called biophilic design. And I think we had one talk at one of the conferences. So plants, obviously, any plants, but air cleansing plants. I live in London, and unfortunately, there is not great. So, but also they kind of in office environment they boost, promote creativity, efficiency, reduce stress, and in good. And this is a Indian money plant, and also air cleansing at the same time. So if you kind of low maintenance plants, air plants, they take moisture, water from the air, and they're very easy to grow. So beautiful, you can get any of these very easily. And then I mentioned negative ions, so I promote ionizers, especially if you're in a polluted area. Obviously, air purifiers, and that's the only plant that produces negative ions. There's no other plant that produces negative ions, just ferns. And then I mentioned earlier the salt lamps might produce some negative ions. And then let's talk about the most important thing, deep sleep for your soul. So the sleep is really 90-minute cycle, and that middle bit is the deep sleep. And that's the holy grail of health. So if you go to sleep at 11, you might have, 5 cycles. But the first one is the deepest and the kind of the longest, yeah? So to take care of your sleep. So DNA gets repairs during the deep sleep. Yeah? Autophagy get activated. Autophagy is a self-healing mechanism. And melatonin is affected in deep sleep by, sorry, it cut out, light, Wi-Fi radiation. So switch off your Wi-Fi for the night. You're not using it at night. It's very easy. You can set it in the router. You don't have to think about it. And sleep in total darkness. So just to cover the key things, put your bed in pie position, armchair configuration if you can. Solid headboard is good. No metal beds because metal amplify electrosmog. Foam mattress are better than spring mattress. Obviously, avoid geopathic stress, electrosmog, no Wi-Fi at night. That one difference will make a huge difference. Obviously, you have no control over the Wi-Fi of your neighbors, but you have control over yours. No direct electricity, and then sleep in total darkness because light can affect your melatonin production. And then, if possible, sleep with your head towards north because there's some studies suggesting that when we align ourselves with the magnetic north, we sleep better. And animals do that. A lot of animals do that. Yeah. So, vagus nerve is the longest nerve in our body. It's very important. And different things can activate it. So, being happy, eating nice food, being relaxed, taking a cold shower is the easiest way to activate your vagus nerve. Yeah? A lot of research on that. But also taking pictures of friends and family can activate your vagus nerve. How simple is that? So Feng Shui actually can activate your vagus nerve. So pictures, lots of pictures, whatever you like. People do all kinds of things. But everywhere, the more the better. Here, it's like, go crazy. Pictures of friends, families, of yourself, anywhere, happy. And then there's something called Schumann resonance, which is natural kind of vibration of the earth, 7.83 hertz. And that's the same as your alpha brain state. So it's kind of relaxing, meditation-like state, but also healing. So the ambience, the more Schumann resonant ambience you have in your environment, the better you feel. And geopathic stress can affect that. Yeah. So solution to that, obviously walking barefoot, loads of research on the benefits of grounding and earthing. So, for example, it reduces inflammation big time. NHS is thinking of recommending this. Lowest blood sugar levels, pain decreases, all kinds of things that are useful. Kids behaving better. In schools in Finland, they ask kids to wear no shoes, and they behave better because it electrosmog reduction. And most schools have lots of Wi-Fi and so on. So walking barefoot is a good idea. So not everybody's got a garden. So there's a solution to that. Your bath will ground you. Having a bath for 20 minutes in the morning will ground you, reduces that electrosmog, drains all the stresses. So it's a simple and very nice way to go. Obviously, add some Epsom salts, magnesium, because when you're stressed, and electrosmog is a stressor, will kind of leach the magnesium from your body. So add some Epsom salt. It's quite nice. Yeah. And the early practitioner of grounding was Paul McCartney in 1969, walking barefoot, very healthy, to combat his other habit, which wasn't good, smoking. So there's also earthing grounding mats. You need to be a bit careful with this because you're plugging them usually to the socket and you need to check whether the earth effect works. Yeah. So ideally you use something called body voltage where you're measuring how this mat is working, because sometimes it works the opposite. So most of the time it works well, but obviously if you ground it to the outside ground is the best way, but most places, homes, it's not possible. So that's another way of kind of reducing electrosmog that kind of flows through your body. I've developed this idea of Schumann resonance generators. I've got this here actually. So it looks like this. You plug it to anything, USB, and it kind of helps with electrosmog, geopathic stress, gives you this grounding effect, Schumann resonance, but also enhance the alpha brainstem. And in some hospitals, they are thinking of using this sort of technology to boost people's relaxation response and heal quicker. And that's the website, helios3.com. And one of the best things to ground yourself is to have tiles, ceramic tiles. They'll ground you. I've tested so many kitchens with ceramic tiles, and there is this grounding effect. It's amazing. It's brilliant, it works. So obviously in a lot of cultures they have that already, and I don't know what it is because it's cultural or practical or whatever, but the grounding effect happens there. So that's a useful thing to have. And if you touch this tap, when you're having washing your dishes, you have a grounding effect. Yeah? Anything that is kind of grounded, it will give you that. Yeah? Famously, Agatha Christie got a lot of ideas when she was washing dishes, and then she would wash dishes to get ideas. Yeah? So maybe that helped her to relax. Yeah? So, books, obviously you can have lots of symbols, but spiritual books, the more books you have, the better you feel, because books make us happy. Yeah? And they've done studies where they discovered that the more books you have, the more intelligent you are and the more wiser you are. And you don't have to read them. Obviously, reading helps. I'm not saying that doesn't help. It will make even more intelligent, wiser. So, but the just amount of books. So books everywhere. You don't have to be just in the knowledge area of your bag. But I've got this picture because of this mirror-tiles mirror. So obviously, when you're standing in front of that mirror, you kind of dissect it, yeah? And that's opposite of spirituality. Spirituality is about wholeness, seeing yourself, your aura, and so on. So not a good idea, yeah? For a living room. It's my pet hate. But also people have this sort of cabinets, and then in the morning they get divided in half, and then when they go to sleep, they get divided. Not good. So big mirrors, octagonal, very good shape for prosperity and all kinds of things, but it's a nice kind of way to have all this. So avoid mirror tiles and avoid this kind of cabinets. And the bigger the better, because you want to see yourself. Your physical body is what you see, but obviously your aura, your spirit is much, much, much bigger. So lots of research on mirrors, actually. There's 32% reduction in consumption of unhealthy food in your kitchen if you've got a mirror. It's good. Yeah. So boost self-esteem, make you aware of your body, and helps you boost your self-esteem as well. And kind of spiritual awareness. So the more mirrors, but obviously positioned in such a way that kind of reflects something nice, expand the space, move light, and so on. So then obviously Feng Shui has a lot of symbology behind it, and basically images, metaphors are kind of primers and reminders about what we want. In one word, Feng Shui is ritual, nothing else. You know, everything you do is ritualistic. Yeah? And obviously this year, 2021, is the year of the ox. Yeah? But people in this Lascaux cave in France, 17,000 years ago, they were using Feng Shui. That's Feng Shui in action. It's a ritual. Yeah? So they were drawing this to improve their future hunting. Intention plus ritual. So there's no difference between this or this. Anything works for you. So you've got koi cups. I've got a picture of koi cups. I found this very fine. So I recommend fish tanks and fish points, but it's maintenance. I low maintenance. So I got this 3D. You got a nice 3D effects over there. You can look at it closer. Beautiful carps and the Feng Shui fish. Yeah, obviously money plants, crystals, anything you like would work. You know, so it's up to you really. Obviously, if it resonates with you, it will work better. But ultimately, any ritual, anything will work with the right intention. So behind that, there's something called priming in neuroscience. It says that when our brains are cued or primed, or anchored for something, we are more likely to find it, notice it, and engage it. Yeah? So this is an Italian coffee. I took a picture somewhere in Italy, and they put a little cross there. Yeah? So that's in Italy, it's a normal thing. You've got saints, you know, Madonnas everywhere. And I don't know what it meant to that person. I didn't ask. Yeah? But that's part of the culture and means something, and it's okay. Maybe some other culture might be not appropriate, but it's a primer. So maybe it's for protection, maybe for something else. We don't know. So a couple of more examples from my home. So I've been collecting all kinds of things. So sort of like a nice church in Copenhagen. That's my favorite saint, Saint Giuseppe de Cupertino. He used to levitate. And more saints by the door. So like, you know, Evil Eye and Ganesh, all kinds of fun things. That's about the tankas. And that's my little altar. So kind of fun things. Sacred. I know it's a candle, but I only light it once a year. For special reasons, don't light it all the time. And kind of nature and things, more saints, more sort of fun things, and kind of fun things, yeah. So Niels Bohr famously said, I understand that Feng Shui works whether you believe in it or not. So it doesn't matter what you do. Obviously, if you plug into rituals or kind of intervention that most people use, then the morphic field of that ritual will be much stronger than just when you invent your own, yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's your intention that counts, yeah. So Buddha his symbol, lotus, was a popular thing, and a lot of people got enlightened just looking at lotus flowers. Why not? So I'm going to show you how priming works. So just follow the instruction on the screen. So read what you see aloud. Can you? Dreaming. I prime you with reading. I got you. So obviously there's both, but so another example. So it takes about 10 seconds to fold a piece of paper. You can do it later. So just fold it, yeah. And then I fold it. And look how quickly, with my eyes closed, I can fold it. Because I primed this piece of paper. That's how learning works, that's how your brain works, that's how Feng Shui works. You prime your home with different things. Consciously and unconsciously, they'll prime you back. So, we've got yin and yang, divergence and convergence. So, divergence is kind of dispersing, like the layout of these chairs is very divergent. If we got closer, we'll be more convergent. Or one, yeah. So, obviously we're living in square houses most of the time. So adding more convergent shape will give you more of that spiritual vibe, yeah, if you like. Yeah. So I stayed in this house, amazing. 3 hours sleep in this little round cottage made completely of natural things is like 7.5 hours somewhere else. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. And in the past, about 30% of our ancestors lived in round dwellings. Yeah. So add kind of curves, add shapes that are kind of more natural. So there's lots of examples of that. So this is from Holland, and they made settlements like this in a round shapes. If you go to Italy, you can see those round houses. So that's enough. Any other shapes, anything round, so the more, the better, actually. So you can look at just go through your home and just count how many square things you have and how many round things you have. And then you see your yin and yang balance. You know? So obviously you know this quote, we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. Or we prime our buildings and thereafter they prime us, you know, if you want the scientific explanation of that. So they've done this interesting study. Made up name, Buba and Kiki, asked people to match them. So most people do that. Kiki kind of spiky. Then they went next level, love and hate. Guess how they go? Yeah, obviously, yeah. Most people do that. Hate is kind of spiky. And then if you don't know Spanish, you might fall for that. It's not this because audio is hate in Spanish. So add more round things and playful things. So Van Gogh said life is probably round. So balloons, how difficult it is to add some balloons? I mean, kids love them. Huh? They know what play is. A kind of a doormat with little dots, yeah? Play is an antidote for uncertainty. And obviously, at this time, on this planet, we live in kind of radically uncertain times. So the more playfulness you add, and in Hinduism, Lila is divine play, or bliss. So it's a nice kind of thing to it. And also, circular shapes kind of come together, according to this quote, kind of unite opposites. So it's a good idea to have as many shapes that are kind of fun and round. So some examples, gardens, Vesica piscis, a very sacred shape, mind and body, body and spirit, and you can add that in your garden. Obviously it's nice to add some water, so you can choose round water features as opposed to square. And nowadays, low maintenance, solar panel, and this is kind of for your home, a small one. So, and this one got some light. So you can look at the Bagua, one of the Feng Shui models, through spiritual eyes. So you can start with the beginning. What is my life path and my life purpose? Yeah. You can go to family. What is my spiritual family? Who was I before my parents were born? It's a spiritual question. Oh, how can I connect more to grace and be more lucky, just to get more prosperity? Or ultimately, who am I? You answer that question, I promise you, most of your personal problems and issues will disappear like a dream. So you can look at Bagua from a spiritual point. Obviously, the most spiritual part, it's all spiritual, but number 1, number 9 are more kind of have this spiritual dimension. So this Bagua, and I kind of distinguish between 3 types of Bagua. So there's classical campus Bagua, then the free-gate Bagua, and then the virtual kind of spiritual Bagua. So how do you distinguish between which one to use? So obviously the campus Bagua, you answer this question, I'm in the world. So the physical reality affects me, the campus directions affect me. Yeah? But free-gate though, the world is in me because I'm bringing the energy into the space. Yeah? It depends on the door, depends on me. Yeah? And then virtual, spiritual one, I'm beyond both. I can use both. I don't have to use any of this. It will still work. So it's up to you. So the different levels of choice, and some people like this and it works fine. But then they usually go to this and they go to that. Yeah? So that was my journey. So am I in the world? Choose this. Is the world in me? Choose this. But if you want to go beyond both, go to that one. Which is kind of absolute empowerment because then you're free. You're free to do whatever you want, and it will work because your intention has kind of a bigger, broader view of life. So, what is the difference? People ask me about this difference between and similarities between interior design, Feng Shui, and spiritual Feng Shui. So, interior design is about one thing, affordance. I'll explain this word in a minute. Feng Shui is about affordance cosmology. And cosmology has some spiritual aspects, no doubt. But spiritual Feng Shui is about affordance, cosmology, and spirituality. So I kind of make it more explicit. Yeah? So affordance is what the environment offers the individual. Yeah? It's a psychological term. So a chair affords sitting. Yeah? So in one word, Feng Shui is about affordance. We'll get to that, what's that. Yeah? So other examples, a lake affords bathing and swimming. A wall affords lineability. The handle on a tea set affords holding. Yeah? So ultimately, Feng Shui affords personal and spiritual development. Yeah? They're both working like that. So the difference is spiritual. So spiritual Feng Shui is both interior design and Feng Shui and goes beyond it. So, what is ultimately spiritual Feng Shui for? I already used that word, so it's no surprise, no secret. To go beyond Feng Shui. So I've got some good quotes. Gilles French philosopher said, freedom lies in choosing the level. So you can choose a physical level, you can choose a spiritual level, you can choose any other levels between, you can choose the whole spectrum, it's up to you. Einstein said, we can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created them. And this Indian mystic Nisarga Maharaj said, no problem is solved completely, but you can withdraw from it to a level on which it does not operate. And that's freedom. So clutter doesn't affect me. I know it affects a lot of people because they think that it affects them. And that's how it is. So obviously, I start to clear stuff when I can't find things, but I don't actually like clutter. I think it's spiritual. So then you've got that choice. You can work on that level, whatever. Yeah. But the bigger view of life and the bigger kind of possibilities you see and more choice, the better. So why go beyond Feng Shui if it works? Whatever you're doing. So to understand Feng Shui better, think better about Feng Shui. Just give you a bigger picture. You see it from different angles. To be free from Feng Shui dogma, Feng Shui bias, and false promise. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Feng Shui superstition. I still get calls from people ask me, oh, I've got a toilet in the wealth corner. Is it going to ruin my finances? Yeah, I mean, if toilet controlling your finances, you've got a problem. Well, it's not controlling your finances. To be less affected by Feng Shui, so yeah, obviously environment affects you, but less. To be less attached and to identify with the material world, kind of body-mind paradigm, yeah? To be more conscious, enlightened, and to be free. But we've got a very good Zen koan. It says, although the enlightened ones are free from karma, cause and effect of Feng Shui, they don't ignore it. So I know about geopathic stress. I would choose a place without geopathic stress, but if I'm in a hotel and I'm sleeping on a geopathic stress for 2 nights, it doesn't bother me. Actually boosts my immunity. A bit of geopathic is good for you. So that's how it goes. So How can you go beyond Feng Shui? Give you some ideas. So, this boy points at a photo of a watch. Then he noticed his mom's got a watch, similar. And then he listens to his mom's watch ticking. And then he tries to listen to the picture of a watch. Sweet, yeah. But he just realized the map is not the territory. The menu is not the meal. That's a little enlightened moment for him. Yeah? And Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, is just similar. The Tao that can be taught is not the true Tao. Names that can be named are not true names. The origin of heaven and earth has no name. The mother of myriad things has a name. That's yin and yang for you. So you shift in your understanding. Another example, so this girl is writing a letter to Tooth Fairy. She wrote a figure out, something wrong, and then, dear mom and dad, she crossed the tooth. Yes, we know it's you. Stop lying. Just a little tip. Leave £100 instead of £1. It's a great idea. Anyway, have a nice night. Yours most great detective at finding out who liars are. Ashley, your favorite child. And then you obviously got it, but then she said, P.S., what do you do with our teeth? Tell me. And there's an example. My son, he's tried to capture Santa for a couple of years. And when he was 6, he announced that that's his plan, how to capture Santa. And then he announced Santa doesn't exist. I was like, how do you know? You know, you're only small. You know, because you couldn't catch him, it doesn't mean it exists. I Googled it. So, there are trivial truths and the great truths. The opposite of a trivial truth is plainly false. The opposite of the great truth is also true. That's a spiritual enlightenment. Niels Bohr, Danish. And one more from Lao Tzu. He talked about Feng Shui. He says, windows and doors chiseled create a house. The emptiness within, the non-being, makes the house useful. Being and substance bring benefit, profit. Non-being and emptiness make things useful. So that empty space is important. And again, Lao Tzu said something and nothing produce each other. That's the biggest hardcore question for scientists and physics. Why there is something like this as opposed to nothing? Obviously, nothing is here as well. So the Taoists think of heaven and earth as their homes. Yeah? And obviously, you need to ponder on this question, whether the universe is a friendly place. You know? Sometimes it doesn't appear like that. Yeah? So doing nothing is better than being busy doing nothing. So just to recognize that we're here in one of the 200 billion galaxies, more to visit, you don't have to do anything. You just know this. You just need to remember that you're here. Yeah? And that opens up your consciousness in an instant. So, to sum up, make your home more spiritual, wholesome, and balanced. Brings more convergent forces, round shapes and organic shapes, etc. More spiritual symbols, nature, if you're not into spiritual things. Remove anything that potentially negatively impact your soul and spirit, so clutter, joy, stress, and so on. Add more playful things, photos, books, anything that makes you kind of fun. Yeah? Love your home, create sacred spaces, and go beyond Feng Shui. And I leave you with this quote from Gaston Bachelard, a French philosopher, who wrote this book, Poetical Space, which I think is one of the best books on Feng Shui. If you're a Feng Shui consultant, you should have it at home. I've read it so many times. It's beautiful. The house shelters daydreaming. The house protects the dreamer. The house allows one to dream in peace.